Hi everyone and welcome back to Stiga NHL Hockey World with Luke and Chris. As you can see, my son Luke's not here tonight. He's actually filming for us. And his place has been taken by my daughter Lexi.
Hello.
Now, as big a fan as Luke is of the Vancouver Canucks, Lexi is just as big a fan of the Arizona Coyotes. I would say the biggest in Australia and would probably be almost the biggest in Arizona. Anyway, given the fact that we're all missing hockey right now, it's tough times with isolating and especially not having any hockey to watch to get us through to get through this. We figured what better way to fill in our time than to paint a few more teams and a couple of other things that we've done with the game that we'll talk about another time. But as you know, if you've seen previous episodes, we've shown you the painting that we've done on existing teams, how we've changed some from home to away and away to home by painting over the current colours and just using the logo that was already on the printed figure. So when we've gone about wanting to paint our own teams, we're kind of held back by the fact we didn't have the logo. So we kind of thought about it and we come up with a bit of a solution. We thought and we tried it and it worked. So we're going to show you what we did. And what we did, Lex, you might want to explain.
So we got images of each team's logo that we were going to paint, and we shrunk them down to a really small size and printed them out, and then we just cut them out.
Yeah. And so the test was, though, were they going to stick onto the figurine? So we just used a basic glue. Only a tiny little bit of glue was needed, and they worked. And then to seal it, we just used the clear acrylic paint just to make sure that the paper was not going to tear or it wasn't going to be affected by anything outside of it, so it's totally sealed. So let's show you what we've done. So this is how you receive your plain white team. Now, I just have to tell you too, as much as you'd like to hope that you wouldn't have to paint the white part if you're doing an away team, you still will, because the plastic white isn't as clean and crisp as the painted white. So I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So that's how it comes. First team that we did was for Luke, who obviously, as you know, is a Canucks fan, and he was super keen to get the Canucks retro jersey that they've been wearing again this season, which is pretty awesome actually. So this was the first team that we did, wasn't it, Lex? Mm-hmm. So Luke, if you want to come in nice and tight there and just have a look at that detail, and you can see the logo, and you would not think that it's paper. And just knowing that you need to have a pretty good printer with a nice resolution that can get in nice and tight so that you can get all the detail you need. So that's the Vancouver Canucks retro style jersey for Luke. Lex, what have we got next?
The Arizona Coyotes.
Goes without saying that one of the coolest jerseys back in the league now is the Arizona Coyotes third jersey, which is their home. Well, they wear it at home as a second home jersey, and as you can see, the detail involved here with the chest logo, and also we've put on the shoulder logo as well, if you can see that. That's an even smaller printed piece of paper. So you've got to be pretty careful when you're cutting it out, obviously. And you can also touch up around it, pardon me, with the paint if you maybe cut a little bit off or so. But that's the Arizona Coyotes. Pretty good resemblance to the jersey, right? What do you think, Lex?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. Okay, so next one.
The LA Kings.
So we do have LA Kings in home and away, but our away is the old version that Stiga put out quite a few years ago. So we wanted to update that. So what we've done is painted it white, and obviously all the dark and silver trim, and you can see the logo there. Can you get that logo there, Lou? Yeah, okay. And that really stands out on the white. That logo looks cool. Okay. And what I also like about the actual paper logo is the fact that it's almost more realistic, given the fact that a true logo, sits off the shirt, stitched onto the shirt, and it's more of a three-dimensional feel. And this is how these feel as well. So last one that we've been working on, Lex?
Is the Winnipeg Jets.
So we do have the Winnipeg Jets home And we're kind of using the old Atlanta Thrashers away jersey as their away team, but we thought let's just upgrade this. So just to show you what you start with and where you get to, and just to show you the difference in white, what we've got here is the white plain figurine that you receive in the pack, and then the white paint that you obviously trim up your player with, and you can see the difference in crispness. So you need that painted white. So if you just have a look closely at that Winnipeg Jets logo on the chest, and we've also added the shoulder logo as well. Again, pretty intricate, pretty detailed, but looks really good. Okay, so they're the teams that we've painted. Now time of isolation, filling in time and continuing on with our hockey, even though the hockey's not on television or can't watch it live anymore. So now what I'm going to do is show you the process, steps involved in how we go about painting these, just because a few people have asked and said, look, can you show us how you go about it? So we're going to show you that right now. Okay, so we're back and about to show you the process, what we go through when we are painting the figurines. So first and foremost, you want to get yourself set up in a good area to do it. So no sort of distractions around, a good light above, or you might even have a nice lamp that you can put directly over your hands, which is what I used to do, but this light above is not too bad. So once you've got your position set, get everything you need and have it in order. So you can basically go from one step to the next without having to search for things. So in this case, I've got all my basic paints that I'm going to use for the Winnipeg Jets character, all lined up, ready to go. So I used to use toothpicks. Because I've been painting them previously, I've still got my toothpick that I've been using, so I've got that good to go. Bit of scrap paper that you can just rub off any of the excess paint that might cause an issue when you're painting, and I'll show you what I mean. I've got the paint thinner, which I've already put a few droplets into the paint I'm going to use, because after time it does thicken up a little bit, and you want to have it really thin, viscous, so that it can go across smoothly without blobbing. So I've already added that to my paint. This is the paint I'm going to use. Most importantly for me, my glasses, so that I can see. Alright, so if you want to come in tight there, Lex, first and foremost, when I'm dealing with painting a new figurine, the last thing you want to paint is the head, and you can do the feet or the skates a little bit earlier, but I like to say them towards the end, purely because you're handling those parts of the figurine all the time, and if they've already painted, you start to they get some of the paint on them, or they get scuffed, and essentially just it ruins the finish. So don't paint the top or the bottom till later, and you've obviously got the stick to hold on to as well. So when I'm doing a figurine such as Winnipeg Jets, I'd look at the main colours that I'm going to use. So the white can go on a bit later, it doesn't need to go on directly. So the first thing is you can look at the shorts, the gloves, and the main colours on the jersey is the dark navy blue. So that's what we're going to use first. So to get started, give it a good shake, which I've done. I've added the thinner. Now, to avoid, when I open this, I'm just going to slide off the excess, and I'm only going to use the paint that's on the lid. So there's enough paint on that lid to get me through and to get me started. And so when I'm starting, I'm only going to work on the outside perimeter of what I'm painting. When I've done the complete outside perimeter, then I can come in with a brush and fill in the blank spaces in the middle. I'll show you what I mean. So if I'm starting, you've got a good guide here between the shorts and the jersey. So start just away from it and then work your way towards where you want to finish. So I'll just get a little bit going so you can get a bit of an understanding of what I'm talking about. You don't want to get too much paint on your toothpick when you go in for each little extension of where you're going, because if you have too much, you can lose control of it on the edge and it can go over into where you don't want it to go. If you do have too much, I'll show you an example. If I've got way too much on there and I feel like it's going to blob, I'll just always go in towards where I'm going to eventually paint anyway, and then you come back with the excess and do your line. Alright, so imagine I've gone through all the way around, perimeter of all the gloves, and back around, and the bottom as well. Okay, so you can see now I've gone all the way around the perimeter of the shorts and the gloves, so that I've got a defining line between the jersey and the socks where they start. And so now, once I've done that, I can fill in those areas with a brush, which is faster. So before I do it, I like to freshen up the paint because I've used a bit off that lid. So all you do is just put it back on, shake it up a bit, and then wipe off the excess again. And you've got a new fresh batch of paint on top there. I have my brush that I've been using with the previous figurines, so it's got navy blue on it already. So I'm just going to dab, not too much, but given the fact I've got a lot of space to work with, I can just start from the inside and work my way out towards that edge. I've got a little bit of room to play there now because I've created that line with the toothpick, and I can just fill in. Now it's important that as you're spreading it, you don't get those bits where it looks like it's streaking. Like, for example, if I push hard, you'll see it streak a little bit. So you want to make sure you keep it nice and tight with your push of the brush. And just get in tight. And you might find that as you're getting towards the end of this section of the shorts and the gloves, you might need to freshen up your paint again. So it's just a matter of putting the lid back on, shaking it, and you'll have a new lot of paint that you can just use to finish it off. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish this off and I'll show you the finished product. But you get the idea, right? So I'm just filling in from the inside out towards that line. So any excess paint isn't at the edge, it's actually internal, so I can move it around without having to worry about going over that line. Okay.